Welcome, everybody. Wasn't that a great video? My name is Tanya Lovelace, and I would like to welcome you to the 2021 Public Service Career Expo. You are in the session for courts and legal, and I hope you really enjoyed that video. I enjoy it every time I watch it. I learned something new. And so today you're going to learn even more about what goes on behind the scenes when it comes to courts and legal. As I said, my name is Tanya Lovelace. I am with the City of Kansas City, Missouri. I work in human resources in the Education and Development Division. So I am responsible for making sure that all city employees have the proper training and education that they need to be successful in the public sector. And I will be moderating the discussion today regarding courts and legal. So again, welcome. I see some of the schools are here right now. I see Fort Osage is here, the Career and Technology Center. Anybody else? Shawnee Mission West has people there. Anybody else? If you are on, please go ahead and put the name of your school in and the number of students that are attending this session. So I'll give you a few seconds. Go ahead and do that so I can shout you out. We already have Fort Osage Career and Technology, and we have Shawnee Mission West. Who else is here? I'll give you a few seconds to type that in the chat so we can see who else we have here. Hopefully you all have been enjoying the rest of the sessions. There's Bruce Middle School. Welcome, Bruce Middle School. They have 15 students. Any other schools out there? I'll give you a chance to put that in the chat. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get started with our session. I'm going to introduce you to Bonita Jones. She is going to take us through the journey of what happens when there is a traffic ticket or a lawsuit comes to court. So, Bonita, I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off and hand it over to you.
Welcome. I'm so excited to share with you more about the courts and legal profession. My name is Benita Jones. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Kansas City, Missouri Municipal Court. Basically, that just means that my job is to get information to people so that they can help themselves with their court cases or understand our court system a little bit better. I am an attorney, but I'm also a former journalist, so I put those skills together to try to accomplish what I'm doing now. So I'm just going to run through this with you a little bit about what happens when you have just a basic traffic accident and all the different people, stages that it can go through, and all the people that you might end up seeing along the way. So let me turn my camera off so we can just see those slides. All right. So we're going to take a journey through the legal system with a typical traffic accident or a crash, course in the legal system. So we're going to look at the positions you've heard about on the video, what roles they play, and I'm going to ask you a few questions along the way about what do you think is going to happen next or who you might meet next. You can type an answer in the chat if you'd like, or just answer to yourself. All right, so basically you're going to have two types of legal actions typically that could come about after a traffic accident. One is what you might think of as the traffic ticket, or if it's even more serious criminal charges. And that's just looking to see if a crime or a city ordinance has been violated, like speeding or something, or a crime like driving under the influence. The prosecutor, whether it's at the state level or the city level, would file the charges. The person is innocent until proven guilty. And if they are found guilty or they plead guilty, there's going to be some sort of a penalty like fines. And if it's very serious, maybe jail or prison time. But while that's going on, the drivers might sue one another, or one driver sue the other for damages. We're not talking about a crime here. What we're talking about here is money to cover the injuries and the property damage. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you have a traffic accident, who's one of the first people that's associated with the criminal or traffic ticket process that might show up at the accident? If you thought police officer, then you are correct. Police officer is not really part of the court system. If you've already taken your civics classes, then you'll know there's different branches of government. They're really kind of with the executive branch, but they do investigate, write the accident report, and issue tickets. And all three of those will come into play during the court actions. In this scenario, we're just going to assume that the ticket written was for failure to yield, causing an accident. That just means the driver didn't give up the right of way or make that pause that you're supposed to when you to the other traffic. So they're making like a left turn and they didn't yield to traffic. So once they get that ticket or they're charged with a crime, they go to court. And the first time you go to court, it's going to be called an arraignment. Fancy word just means that the judge is going to read the charges. The person who's charged or got the ticket is going to plead guilty or not guilty. And then we're going to see who's in the courtroom here. We've said the judge, but who else is there? You've got the judge presiding over the case. The prosecutor filed the charges. You've got a bailiff or someone in uniform, could be a sheriff's deputy or someone, but someone doing that role where they're keeping order in the court. Now, in some courts, maybe the bailiff is not in uniform. They may be more of a court clerk, but they're keeping order, telling people to be quiet and observe the rules. Then you have the court clerk who's doing the paperwork side and the computer side of things for the judge. Now, we said people can plead guilty or not guilty at that first court appearance. So if they go ahead and plead guilty, they say, yeah, I did it. I ran that red light. I sped through there. Then they can, they're probably going to get some sort of penalty like a fine, and they may be put on probation if it's in the municipal court. I'm just going to go with that for a minute. If it's a fine, you're going to have to pay it. So you're going to have to see a cashier, and they're going to take the money or maybe set you up on a payment plan. That person will be knowledgeable about the courts too, because they have to know how the payments are processed in the court, as opposed to say somewhere like, at a store. Probation officers are going to have you maybe take some driving classes. And if it's more serious or there was substance abuse involved, or if it's a different type of charge and there's a mental health issue, we have treatment courts that help you with that. Also, if it's very serious, again, some jail or prison time could be involved. But what happens if they plead not guilty? Didn't do it. I want to have my day in court. So you might need somebody to help you with that. Who would you get to help you with a court case? Would you go get a legal secretary? You know a lot about the law. Paralegal, ooh, that sounds kind of serious. Maybe a paralegal, that sounds good. Defense attorney, I like defense. I like being defended. Prosecutor, they're bringing the charge. So who is it? Oh, that defense attorney. Yep, that's who you're going to get. So in our judicial system, our court system, you can hire an attorney, and then under certain circumstances, if you're facing jail time, the courts can appoint an attorney for you if you can't afford one. You have to be what they call indigent or poor. So once you get that defense attorney, they can try to negotiate a better plea agreement with that prosecutor for you, or they can take it to trial where the judge and the jury are going to hear the evidence. Again, like we said, person is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That's pretty serious, high standard the prosecutor has to meet. If they're found guilty, or if somewhere along the line they decide to plead guilty, then the judge does impose that penalty. So just on that one side of a traffic case, here are all these different people that are involved. And, those are potential places where you could have a career in the courts and legal system. Okay, that's it. Wait, don't forget. We did talk about that civil lawsuit. Sorry about that. So here we go. There's, while that whole thing was going on in traffic court, one of these drivers may sue the other one and say, hey, wait, or their insurance company may and say, wait, you were negligent. Not only did you commit some kind of crime, you're negligent and you owe me some money to fix my car or pay my hospital bills. So before that case, that type of case can even start, you've got to have some more things going on that side of the spectrum. You've got meetings at the law office with paralegals and lawyers. Then you've got the insurance company. They have legal staff as well. They've got legal investigators and claims adjusters. And then you have people like medical experts and accident reconstructionists. They're kind of like, they're going to recreate the scene of the accident so you can see it in court. Medical experts going to talk about how those injuries got caused by the accident. And then the beginning of the legal action is where the people that you may think of as legal personnel come into it. Lawyers, and of course the paralegals, they're going to write everything up, get it to the legal secretary who's going to work with the court to file it. You got the judge who, even before they have the trial, they've got to schedule the court dates and the meetings with the lawyers. And then you've got a process server. You know how we all say you got served? Well, that is where this comes from, because if you're getting sued, you get served with papers. Somebody comes and hands you the papers in one way or another and says, hey, you're served with this lawsuit. So true or false? After all of that, we've got to be ready for trial, right? Not quite. While you're getting ready for a civil case, you've got a lot of other people that can get involved. You've got some depositions. Those are just a bunch of questions at the lawyer's office that you take under oath, not the trial, but just trying to flush out what happened in the case. And then again, we try to settle it. So still trying to work everything out. So we filled in our chart on the civil side. You can see it's a whole lot here. And this time the judge and jury are going to try to find it by preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not that it happened. So all in all, you've got one accident, two types of legal actions we looked at, all these different roles and possible places where a person could have a very exciting job or career in the courts and legal profession, entering at many different levels, working your way up. We don't have the judge's salary on here, but theirs is set by statute by the court, and everything from the entry-level clerk up to the court administration, there's usually a role for you. So I think it's a very exciting thing to work in. And Tanya, I'm going to stop sharing and get this back to you now, if I can. There we go.
All right. Thank you, Bonita. There are a lot of people involved behind the scenes when it comes to a court case. Who knew? I didn't until now. But anyway, so we're going to talk to some of the people that actually do those jobs, some of the people that work behind the scenes. We have our presenters here today, and I am going to introduce them to you. So presenters, as I introduce you, as I call your name, I want you to introduce yourself and tell our students a little bit about who you are and what you do. So we will start with Judge Corey Carter. He is a municipal court judge for the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Take it away, Judge Carter.
Thank you, Tanya. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Judge Corey Carter. I'm a judge with the Kansas City Municipal Court. My general assignments are traffic citations and general ordinance violations, and my special assignment is with the truancy court. I've been a judge for approximately 6.5 years. Prior to that, I was a trial attorney for the state of Missouri, trying felony jury trials for approximately 10 years, a little over 10 years. I'm a graduate of the University of Missouri-Columbia undergrad in political science, and I've also attained my law degree from the same college as well, Mizzou Law.
Okay.
My job is to apply the law to the facts when called upon to do so, and to move matters towards disposition. So to move the cases along towards disposition so we can come to a resolution.
Okay, thank you so much, Judge Carter. Next, we have Megan Fennestiel. Megan is a court administrator for the city of Kansas City, Missouri.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Megan Fannensteel, and I am the court administrator for the Kansas City Municipal Division. I actually took a skewed path to this position, but I got my undergraduate degree in psychology from UMKC and then went to law school and also at UMKC, and then was an assistant city prosecutor for several years before coming on as the court administrator. My job really is to do all of the behind the scenes and make sure that the courtroom runs effectively, efficiently, and provides justice in the best way possible. And so I run all of the behind the scenes operations for the court.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Next, we have Calina Savero. Calina is a court clerk with the City of Kansas City, Missouri Municipal Court.
Hi, I'm Calina Savero. As Tanya said, I have been a court clerk at the City of Kansas City, Missouri Municipal Court for about 8 years now. Court clerk is pretty much the person who sits next to the judge and handles all the computer and paperwork kind of stuff so that they can focus on the legal matters that are in front of them.
Okay, thank you so much, Calina. And next we have Kyle McAfee. He is the process server supervisor with Jackson County Courts.
Good afternoon, guys. Yes, my name is Kyle McAfee. I'm a supervisor with the 16th Circuit Court Civil Process Department. I've been with the court about since February of 2017, and I supervise a staff of about 15 process servers.
All right. Well, thank you all for introducing yourselves. As you see, we actually have the people that do the work behind the scenes when it comes to courts and legal. So get those questions ready. In the meantime, I wanted to talk to you about agilities. You may have heard that word agilities during the opening video. And what agilities are basically your personal strengths combined with your interests and how it relates to the career that you may want to go into. So when we talk about agilities, again, it's your personal strengths combined with your interests and how they relate to the career that you want to go into. And now that we're talking about courts and legal, some of the top agilities for this profession include managing, inspecting and judging, and estimating. So those are some of the top agilities that you would need or that you would want to possess if you wanted to go into this field. I want to ask some of our presenters a question. We'll go with the managing agility. What part of your job involves that agility? What part of that agility or managing involves that? So let's see, who could we ask this? I'll ask Calina, because you did mention multitasking. So managing, how does that fit into what you do for the courts?
I would say managing fits into my role as I have to manage kind of what's the flow of the courtroom, if you will. The most important thing, like I said on the video, was my judge. So getting things to my judge in an orderly fashion, making sure that nothing gets backed up and ignored, and making sure that everybody gets their fair share of the judge's time so that justice can be served.
Okay, thanks, Calina. What about you, Philip or Kyle? What would you say? How does managing play a role in what you do as supervising the process servers?
A lot of it is time management, because based on the number of court papers we have to deliver and the staff that we have to divide our time to get those papers served, as well as managing our communication skills and our people skills to ensure that we are successful in getting those papers delivered to the public.
Okay, thanks so much, Kyle. So as you see, students, those agilities, that top agility for managing it plays a big role in the jobs that they do behind the scenes when it comes to courts and legal. So we really wanted you to take advantage of taking that. There's going to be a link at the end of this presentation that has the agility assessment that you can take to see where your strengths lie and your strengths and your interests, and it'll kind of help you determine what type of field you want to go into. And it may be courts and legal. Hopefully it is, because this is a really, really interesting profession. So we're going to go ahead and start with our question and answer session. So if you have any questions, please type them in the chat, and we're going to try to get to as many of them as possible. I see that we have the Accelerated Schools of Overland Park join us. Get those questions in the chat. In the meantime, while we have our panelists here, let's start talking about some things. So Judge Carter, I am going to pose this question to you. What classes would you say were most beneficial when you were in school that helps you in your role today as a judge? What classes or subjects?
Well, I'd say anything that involves lots of reading and writing, because as a lawyer, as a judge, communication is huge. So you have to be an effective communicator, that being written or oral communication. You have to be able to express yourself in the form of arguments on paper at times, and you oftentimes have to express yourself orally at times. Mm-hmm. And so having strong reading, comprehension skills, communication skills. I don't want to overlook, your math subjects, because logic plays a role in some of the things that we do legally as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Judge Carter. Calina, we have a question in the chat for you, specifically for you. The question is, how did you know you wanted to be a court clerk, and are you also an attorney?
I actually became a court clerk by accident. I was actually doing security at the courthouse, and they asked me to step in and see if I liked it, and I found that I just really, really, really loved it. I actually had a background getting my bachelor's degree in criminal justice, so that kind of worked out really well. I'm not an attorney. There have been several people who have tried to convince me to become an attorney, but I'm just so pleased with my current role that I don't really feel the need to go that far.
Okay, thank you, Calina. Calina, I have to ask, I really want you to share this with the students, because you actually have a background in forensic science, was it?
Yeah, I got
please share that with the students, because I find it interesting.
I actually went to school for criminal justice, emphasis on crime scene investigation, all the shows like CSI and all that kind of stuff. But it ended up being a lot of when you actually put that into practice, it's a lot of just being stuck in a lab and dealing mm-hmm. with the science part of it. And you don't really get the big whole picture story. And that's the part that I really enjoy.
Okay, thanks for sharing. You've kind of had that legal background, all along, huh? Yeah. Thanks, Calina. Okay, we got another question from Accelerated Schools of Overland Park. Are there careers which might involve both psychology and courts and legal? So are there careers which might involve both psychology and courts and legal? Kendra, would you mind answering that?
You know what? I think that's probably a better question for Megan Fanninstill, our court administrator, but okay. I did not get to introduce myself, so let me just tell you a quick little bit about me. I am one of the city attorneys. I have been, or city prosecutors, I've been a prosecutor with the city of Kansas City for about 10 years now, and my job is to apply the laws of the state and the city ordinances in order to enforce the laws. So I will work with the police, I will work with the public, the judges, defense attorneys, victims, and even the defendants in order to seek justice and resolve these cases. And that can be in the form of negotiated pleas, or sometimes it means probation, and in rare cases for serious offenses, jail. So my office handles everything that would do with reviewing and charging the file, the charge, and then we will even try cases and even jury trials if necessary. So we do very many things to seek justice for the charges.
Thank you, Kendria, and my apologies for that.
No worries. No worries.
Because your role is very, very important as a city attorney. So I apologize for that introduction faux pas. So, but yes, Megan, so if you don't mind answering the question, what are there careers which might involve both psychology and courts and legal?
Well, actually, like I said, I received my undergraduate degree in psychology. So I feel like I use that a lot in my role, even just dealing with the personnel. Our court has a staff of about 80 employees. And so that management and using that psychology in that management has been very useful. But then additionally, a lot of the probation officers and our specialty court case managers work with the mental health of the defendants. And so that is always very important roles, is having someone who can do assessments and talk to these individuals about why they are involved in the criminal justice system and how to provide services to them so that they do not continue to be involved in our criminal justice system. So definitely I see that as a very popular and growing need in court systems nationally for the future.
Very interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Megan. Okay, we have another question. It looks like we have a few future lawyers on here, because the next question says, how many times did it take you to pass the bar exam and how difficult was it? So that is a question for Kendria, Judge Carter, and Megan. Judge Carter, if you want to go first, how many times did it take you to pass the bar exam and how difficult was it?
Took one time, and I made sure that it was one time. And by that, I mean, I spent the entire summer preparing for the exam, 16 hours a day. You know, it got to the point where I was doing it 16 hours a day, multiple practice tests. You know, it was one of those dates that looms in your mind like, you know, Judgment Day. So you're oftentimes laying awake at night wondering if you should be reading something.
Wow.
Or answering some more questions. And the best way to, I guess, address your anxiety, at least for me, is to just start working and keep working. So one time, because it is super expensive to take it, and I did take a preparation course put on by my law school and Barbary, which is the organization that does like testing, standardized testing, so on and so forth. And that cost a decent amount of money as well. So it's one of those deals where you're invested in it and you're going to do everything you can in your power to take it only one time.
So was it as difficult as you thought it would be before, you know, or were you prepared for it based on all the preparation and studying that you did?
Yes, I think it was more of an endurance test. It's more of being awake and alert and being able to continue to answer questions when you are exhausted. And I found that actually to be a good preparation for the trial work that I did as an attorney. You know, you try cases and you're tired. You've been prepping them. You've been laying awake at night, multiple nights, wondering, you know, what it's going to be like, what the jury pool is going to be made up of. And, you know, when it actually begins, you know, you are in trial. So when the jury comes in and they sit and they watch the trial and then they go on break, You don't go on break. You read and catch up on everything that's happened during those proceedings while they were happening in real time. Oftentimes people say things that you didn't think that they were going to say or didn't say things, and you have to be prepared for the next round. And so that endurance does come in handy. And law school does a pretty good job of preparing you for that as well.
Okay. Thanks so much, Judge Carter. I didn't know if Megan or Kendria wanted to weigh in on that question. How many times did it take to pass bar? Or if you want to just weigh in on how difficult was the bar exam? Because I know that's a lot, that weighs in a lot on whether people decide to go to law school or not. Kendria, you want to take a stab at it? Go ahead.
Sure. I will say I did not pass on the first time. So that was a pretty big blow because I was doing everything I could to study, take bar prep exam classes, take prep classes, And when I didn't pass the first time, I didn't pass by 7 points. And so when you do the math on that, it's literally like 1 or 2 questions that kept me from passing the bar. But the thing that I learned through that experience was perseverance and discipline. And it taught me how not to give up. So I would say to you, if this is something that you're considering and you don't pass on the first time, don't give up. Keep going. Life is not going to be an easy walk for everybody. But especially in my career as a prosecutor, I'm not going to win every case. And that is going to develop perseverance as well. I'm going to go back and I'm going to reevaluate what things went wrong with my case or what things I could have done better. And I'm going to seek justice the next time by improving on those skills. And so I'm happy that I didn't pass the bar the first time, because it did develop all those skills and make me a stronger person.
Wow. Thanks for sharing. Okay. I know you're not practicing law right now, Megan, but I didn't know if you wanted to weigh in on this question real quick. I want to give the students an array of responses so they can know what to prepare for.
Luckily, I was very fortunate to pass the bar. I think I was one of those that kind of maybe passed on the 7 points on the other side. It was very stressful at that time, although it was definitely worth it. I kind of was in an unusual situation where I ended up, and I was pregnant while I took the bar. So that added a little bit more stress in making sure that I passed it, because I knew that I was going to have a little one under the way and needing to provide for them. But I will tell you that test and everything that law school is, gruesome for, it really just prepares you to handle anything. And that's what's so great about law school is really there's so many different career paths that you can get to from that law degree. It just opens the door. There were several times when I was in law school and I would talk to my family and say, I don't know if I can make it through this. I don't know why I'm doing this. And, all I can say is that everything works out the way it's supposed to. And it just opened the door for all opportunities for me.
Wow. Focus and perseverance. People, you see it all here. All here. So do not let law school or the bar exam scare you, because you see it right. You see success right here. And if you do not decide to go that route as being an attorney, you could still work in the court system or legal system as a court clerk. Calina does an array of different things. Kyle, one last question, because I don't see any more in the chat and our time is running out. I do want to ask you this. What can students do to prepare now for a position as a process server? What can they do now to prepare for a career as a process server?
Take some criminal justice classes. Call me. If you know a process server that currently is working as a process server, call them. We'll be happy to, let you know what we're looking for. Time management, communication, those kind of skills. If you have any kind of classes you can take in those regards to help you, would be great. But
okay.
I'm always
what are the minimum qualifications? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right out of high school is fine. I mean, we can teach you from the ground up. If you have any security background experience, anything like that would help.
Okay. Good to know. Well, you all have been great. I love the questions. I don't see any more questions in the chat. I see the Accelerated School says, we love you, Tanya. I love you too. I love doing this. This is my 4th time working with the Career Expo, and I love doing it. So I love you all too. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to all of our presenters, Calina, Kendria, Judge Carter, Megan, Kyle, thank you so much. You have provided a wealth of information, and I'm hoping that the students that are in this session will take this information and use it and maybe decide they want a career in the court system or the legal field, because as you all can see, it's very, very interesting. And from what I see, it's rewarding. So again, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for your questions. There will be oh, and thank you to Bonita. You were off camera, so I didn't see you. Thank you so much to Bonita as well. You all have been a great group. This is the end of our time together. At the end of this session, there will be a slide with the link to the Agilities Test. That link will, if you take that test, it's a free 10-minute test. It'll give you information about what career field may best fit you based on, again, your personal strengths and your interests. So again, thank you so much. It's been wonderful seeing you all. Thank you again to our presenters, and I'll see you all. Enjoy the rest of the expo.